Start the session. So, okay, Mayur, are you ready? So, guys, this is the interview for the software testing profile at an experience of 2 year of experience. The questions and the interview level will be of 2 year of experience person, and it will be the very first round of the technical interview. Okay, first round of the technical interview we are going to take today. So, everybody, please listen carefully. Okay, Mayur. So, Mayur, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Okay, so I'm also good. So Mayur, please introduce yourself so we get to know about each other. So myself Prakash,
Uh,
and I am a senior software test engineer in this organization. So I will be taking your first round of interview. So please introduce a little bit about yourself, your experience, your past exposure, and whatever you want to tell about you.
uh, First of all, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Can you speak a
My
little
name.
bit louder, Mayur?
Can you hear me, sir?
Now that's good. Yeah, speak a little bit louder.
Okay, sir. First of all, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Mayur Ganesh Chaudhary. I'm from Jalgaon, Maharashtra. Currently, I am working in Agile IT Service Private Limited, Noida, Uttar Pradesh, as a junior QA. I have experience of 1.6 years. Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Mayur, absolutely, you can continue. Yeah, Mayur, you can continue. Yes, Mayur, you can continue.
Okay, sir. Uh, I have experience of 1.6 years in my current organization. Currently, I am working.
Yes, Mayur,
Hello, sir.
continue. Don't worry, continue.
Sir, sir, my voice is audible or not?
Yes, your voice is absolutely audible. Please continue.
Yes, sir. I have experience of 1.6 years in my current organization as a junior QA. Uh, I
बोलो मयूर, क्या बात हो गई? कंटिन्यू करो ना. बाकी लोगों को मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
मुझे
sir.
थोड़ा ब्रेक हो रहा है वॉइस में.
तो मैं तो कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहा मयूर. आपका इंट्रोडक्शन देने का टर्न है, आप दो ना.
Should should I rejoin?
No, you should continue. I am getting your voice absolutely clear. Just continue.
Okay, sir. In my organization, I work on creating test cases, uh, daily Scrum stand up, then execution of test cases, bug reporting, and bug tracking. That's it from my side, sir.
Okay, Mayur, that's fine. That's fine. Absolutely. Be comfortable. Don't worry. Be comfortable from your end, okay? So, Mayur, I want to ask you that. So, what do you mean by smoke testing, and how do you perform smoke testing in your organization?
Sorry, sir.
What do you mean by smoke testing, and how do you perform smoke testing in your organization?
Sir, smoke testing is also called as build verification testing. It is generally executed to check whether the build given by developer is stable for further testing or not. In this testing, uh, we check main critical functionalities are properly working or not. In our organization, when we get build from the developers, we first install unzip that zip in zip file. We first unzip it and then install in our system. Then we check the critical functionalities of that application. If that works fine, we move further for further testing.
So that's fine, Mayur. So what is the difference between sanity and smoke testing?
Sir, smoke testing generally done in initial phases of the build, when we uh, in early phases of the software. In that we check main critical functionalities are stable or not, and in sanity testing, uh, after fixing bugs or some new functionalities are added or there is a change in the base code of the application, we check main critical functionalities are affected or not because of that change made in the base code.
So that's good. So what do you mean by retesting and regression testing?
What's it?
What do you mean by regression and retesting?
Regression and retesting. Sir, retesting is when a bug is reported to the developer, he works on it and he handovers the build. Then we check whether the previously failed test cases are fixed or not in retesting. And in regression, we completely check all the test cases, all functionalities of the software are affected because of that changes in the code, new functionalities, and bug fixing.
Okay, so do you prefer automation for regression or do you prefer manual testing for for regression test cases in your organization?
Sir, we prefer manual testing.
Okay. Okay, that's fine, Mayur. So Mayur, can you tell me what do you mean by defect life cycle? Can you explain
Sir,
me each and every
defect life cycle.
stage? And
Okay,
I
sir.
want to focus your emphasis that what do you mean by deferred stage in defect life cycle? First, explain the entire workflow. What do you follow in your organization? And also explain a little about the deferred stage.
I didn't get that last part, sir.
So, explain me what do you mean by defect life cycle? What defect life cycle you follow in your organization?
Okay, sir. Defect life cycle is a whole journey of a bug from its creation to its closure. Uh, First stage is when QA finds out the bug. Its first stage is new. Status is marked as new. Then when QA manager assigns it to the developer for fixing, he changes status to the assign. Then when a developer starts working on that particular bug, he changes the status to open. After he worked on that bug, he changed status to the retest. When after retesting, if QA finds that bug is fixed, he changes it to the close. If that bug is not fixed, he change status to reopen. If developer finds that bug is duplicate or he has previously uh, someone has reported the same bug, he marks it duplicate. If he rejects that bug, as he changed the status to rejected.
So, what do you mean by duplicate?
If
What do you
bug is
mean
of
by deferred
low
stage?
priority, low severity
Mayur,
kind of.
sorry to interrupt. What do you mean by deferred stage?
Yes, sir. Deferred is when developer feels that that bug is not important, it's of low severity and low priority, he changes it to uh, deferred, as he can fix that bug in later phases.
Okay, that's
or
fine.
later
So
releases.
tell me the entry and exit criteria of test planning.
Sir, in test planning, uh, entry criteria is SRS, project plan, and exit criteria is test planning document, test schedule document.
Okay, so what are the deliverables of test environment setup?
So, uh, deliverables of test environment setup is smoke testing report and application installation.
Okay, so what do you mean by latent defect?
Um, Sir, latent defect is a defect that appears when certain set of actions, when it meets a certain set of conditions, then it appears.
So every time whenever any defect appears, there are the certain set of steps. So what do you mean by latent defect? How it is different from normal defect?
Sir,
So,
when user
so have you found any latent defect while testing, and have you ever encountered this term in your entire work life cycle, latent defect?
yes, sir, I have encountered that term,
Okay. So what do you mean by that?
but I'm currently not recalling that if I have found any.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Actually, latent defect are not found by QA. All right. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's
It's
cool.
found in prod environment.
Okay, that's cool. That's up to you. Okay, so now Mayur, can you tell me that what do you mean by what do you mean by the difference between error, defect, and bug?
Error, defect, and bug. Sir, error is a human mistake made in coding.
Hmm.
Uh, Defect is a deviation from the expected result, and bug is sorry, sir, I can't recall it.
Okay, so what do you mean by what do you mean by conditional sign off? Okay, that's cool. No issues.
Sorry, sir.
So what do you mean by defect release and defect
Uh,
leakage? Bug release
okay,
and bug leakage.
okay. Sir, first I will tell you bug leakage.
Hmm.
If a certain bug is found by client in a prod environment, it's go undetected by tester. It's called as bug leakage, and bug release is any low priority, low severity defect in software that can be worked on next few releases because of time constraint. It's called bug release.
Okay, okay, Mayur, that's fine. What do you mean by ad hoc testing and exploratory testing?
Sir, in ad hoc testing, we break the functionality of the software, and in exploratory testing, we generally do exploratory testing to know the functionality of the application. Both are informal. There is no documentation required for both testing.
Okay, that's fine. You wanna say that these all are random type of testing, right?
Okay.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Mayur. So have what methodology of development do you follow in your organization? Have you guys heard about agile methodology? Do you follow agile?
Yeah, Yes, sir. We follow Agile in our
Okay,
company.
so what is why we opt agile methodology over traditional waterfall models? Can you brief a little bit about that?
Okay, sir. Agile is faster than the waterfall model because waterfall model is rigid, it's single directional, but in Agile we follow we deliver software in iterations, smaller iterations. We work in sprint. In every sprint, we deliver a software, workable software,
Okay, so
and
what do you
we
mean by
can.
product backlog?
Sir, product backlog is the entire work we have to do on that software.
Okay, so what do you mean by sprint?
Sprint is duration of time within which we have to uh, duration of time for working on software.
Okay,
It is generally of 2 to 4 weeks.
okay. So what do you mean by epic? What do you mean by epic?
Sorry, sir, I can't recall.
Okay, so out of which agile ceremony do you find which is the most important among, like you have heard about daily stand up, sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospectives. So what do you think, which one is the most important among them and why?
Sir, I feel sprint retrospective is more important from my point of view
Why?
because we after end of the every sprint retrospective is carried out, and what mistakes we have done we discuss in it, what could have we done right, we learn from it.
So Mayur, do you have experience about API?
Yes, sir.
So how would you differentiate between REST and SOAP?
Sir, first of all, REST is an architecture and software architecture, and SOAP is a protocol.
Okay.
SOAP is simple.
Can you share your
Oh,
screen, Mayur?
okay.
You can continue. You can continue. The
Sir, I
difference
can't share.
between you can continue the difference between REST and SOAP.
Sir, REST is representational state transfer. Uh, 90% of web services or APIs are based on a REST architecture. REST follows.
Okay, so might
Sorry,
be
sir, I can't recall.
no issue, no issue. So what do you mean by authentication and authorization? Can you explain with the
Authentication.
help of an example?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Uh, Authentication is verification of the user, and authorization is when user is logged in through the valid credentials. What part of the application it can access is authorization. Means is generally validation of the user. Just like in e-commerce website, admin can if you have admin access, you can remove a product or add a product. But if you have user access, you can't change all of this. This is a part of authorization.
Okay, what do you mean by test bed?
What's it?
Test bed.
Sir, test bed is a you can call it test environment on which a tester perform testing.
Okay. So how can you set up the environment in the Postman?
What's it?
How can you set up
What
the
Postman?
environment
Okay, sir.
in
Okay, sir.
Postman?
Downloading the Postman application uh, on my system and log in with valid credentials.
Okay, this is how you set up the environment.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. I'm sure.
Okay, so can I ask you that how you can set up the environment level, environment variables? At which level you can set up the variables?
Uh, I didn't get your question, sir.
Okay, so what do you mean by collection level? What do you mean by collection in Postman?
Uh, Collection. Yes, sir. We can create a collection of APIs according to its uh, test suite or but based on its which function we are testing or which request we are testing. We can create a collection. For example, we can create a collection of all the get requests we are going to test,
Okay, so
all the
what's
put
your
requests.
roles and responsibility? How do you check? Uh, how do you perform API testing? So, what do you check while performing API testing?
Sir, we check the endpoint given to us of that link, particular link, what path parameter or a query parameter it has, or a port number,
So, what is
what
the
domain it
difference
is,
between
what
path
protocol it.
params and query params?
Sir, path parameter is like breadcrumbs, uh, like from main folder to WhatsApp folders we are going, and parameters is for a filtration purpose.
So, how would you provide the path params and query params?
Uh, what's it?
While testing the APIs, how you provide the path params and query params?
You mean how I write it?
Yeah, how you provide?
Uh, After the link, in the link after the slash there is path parameter, and after the question marks, whatever you see is query parameter. If we are using multiple filters, it is separated by ampersand.
So, what do you mean by 502 status code?
502. Sorry, sir, I can't recall.
Okay, so what do you mean by 402 status code?
402 is it's authorization denied. Yes, I'm not sure.
What do you mean by 400 status code? It is the most commonly used.
400.
How many guys have seen 400? Yes.
It is bad request, sir.
Okay. So Mayur tell me what is the difference between post and patch?
Sir, when we create a new information on the server, we use post, and in patch, when we have to edit certain part of the information, we use patch.
And what is the difference between patch and put?
Sir, put is also used for editing that information, but we have to provide whole info in the put, and in patch we have to just provide what we have to change.
Okay, so do you have knowledge about MySQL as well?
Yes, sir.
So can you write a SQL query to find out the highest, second highest salary from an employee table?
Yes, sir, I can.
So just comment in the comment box. Okay. So what do you mean by do you know the difference between unique key and primary key? Mayur, do you know the difference between
Yes,
unique key and primary key?
both are the same, sir.
Both are same. No difference at all.
Unique and primary.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you sure or you are unsure about it?
I'm sure, sir.
Okay, that's fine. So sometimes you have to look at your responses. That's fine. That's cool. So that's cool. So Mayur, from right now, from the basic part, I am done from my end. So do you have any questions?
Uh, no, sir. Just no, sir. No questions.
Okay. So that's fine, Mayur. You can drop the call from your end, and the HR will let you know. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now Mayur, you can turn off your camera and turn off your mic. No issues.
Okay, sir. ये चैट बॉक्स में क्वेरी
कोई
सेट करूँ.
दिक्कत नहीं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. ठीक है. So guys, as per now, if I will consider Mayur as a 2 year of experience, I will completely not select Mayur because the basic questions what I expecting from him to answer was not answered, and sometimes he was very sure but the answer was not correct. Are you guys able to identify those loopholes? बोलो किस किस को समझ में आए कहाँ कहाँ पे गलती थी?
यस सर.
है ना? कई बार गलत चीज़ें भी बड़ी कॉन्फिडेंस से बोली
Yes,
गई
sir.
है ना? और इवन जो बेसिक चीज़ हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे दैट आई हैव ऑलरेडी शेयर्ड इन द ग्रुप, दैट वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ करिकुलम, सो दैट वाज नॉट आल्सो वेरी गुड थिंग. ठीक है ना? सो लॉट्स ऑफ इशू अगर मुझे एज अ फ्रेशर लेवल पे एक्सेप्ट करना होता है या 6 महीने 8 महीने 1 साल पे करना होगा, आई विल डेफिनेटली एज ए इंटरव्यूअर आई विल सेलेक्ट. बट अगर 1 साल से ऊपर मुझे 2 साल 2.5 साल पे सेलेक्ट करना होगा, आई विल कम्प्लीटली नो, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है कि मुझे रिजेक्ट करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? बिकॉज बेसिक नॉलेज में भी थोड़ी थोड़ी दिक्कत लगी, थोड़ा सा अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट लगे मुझे, कम्युनिकेशन भी थोड़ा सा अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट दी गई है, और कुछ बेसिक चीज़ों में गलती करी है. कुछ ऐसे क्वेश्चन थे जो मैं एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा था कि एज ए 2 साल के एक्सपीरियंस पर मुझे आंसर मिलना चाहिए, वो नहीं मिला. और अभी ये हमारा फर्स्ट टेक्निकल राउंड था. सेकंड टेक्निकल राउंड में बच्चों आपसे बिहेवियरल क्वेश्चन पूछे जाएंगे, आपसे टेस्ट केस लिखवाए जाएंगे, सिनेरियो बेस्ड क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, जो आपके मैनेजरियल लेवल पे बहुत अच्छे अच्छे क्वेश्चन पूछे जाएंगे. सो उसका हमारा अलग सेशन होगा टुमारो. सो कितने लोगों को चीज़ें समझ में आई कि वो बेसिक चीज़ें, मयूर आपको लगा कई ऐसी बेसिक चीज़ें थी जो आपने छोड़ दी, जो आपको आनी चाहिए थी?
जी सर, बहुत सी चीज़ें जो ऐसी थी मैं मुझे पता है, लेकिन मैं ब्लैंक हो गया, मुझे याद ही नहीं आ रहा था.
याद नहीं आ रहा. ठीक
जैसे आपने
है,
बग एरर का पूछा.
ठीक है. और एक चीज़ मयूर और देखेंगे, और चीज़ एक देखेंगे कि जैसे आपने बोला कि प्राइमरी की एंड यूनिक की आर सेम. ठीक है? सो नेक्स्ट क्लास में आप मुझे खुद इसका डिफरेंस बताओगे. ठीक है?
जी सर.
प्रॉमिस. और बाकी चीज़ें
Yes,
बहुत
sir.
सारी दिक्कतें थी जो आप ब्लैंक कर गए, ऑल्दो आई हैव कंप्लीटेड देम इन द क्लास इटसेल्फ. ठीक है? सो बाकी लोग भी ये बेसिक लेवल का, ये मान के चलो सबसे बेसिक लेवल का मैंने इनका इंटरव्यू लिया है. जितने लोगों को लगता है कि अगर वो नहीं दे पाएंगे इस इंटरव्यू को, अभी मैंने प्रायोरिटी सीवर्टी भी इसमें इंक्लूड नहीं करा. बहुत सारे टॉपिक थे जो मैंने मिस करे, जहाँ पे मैं फंसा सकता था, लेकिन सबसे बेसिक लेवल का 1 साल 1.5 साल के लेवल का मैंने इंटरव्यू लिया है. एंड आई वॉज नॉट सो मच इम्प्रेस्ड. ओके मयूर. सो नेक्स्ट क्लास में कौन मुझे ज्वाइन करना चाहेगा, बोलो.
यस
हु एल्स वांट टू ज्वाइन मी, कि सर मैं अटेम्प्ट करना चाहूँगा.
सर मैं करना चाहूँगा.
सर
दयानीश्वर,
मैं
खुशबू, सुशीला. सो दयानीश्वर, खुशबू एंड सुशीला, और भी जो बच्चे हैं मैं एक बार ग्रुप में डाल दूंगा. उनका फर्स्ट राउंड होगा. एंड मयूर, यू विल बी गेट प्रोमोटेड टू द सेकेंड लेवल. रेडी?
ओके सर.
ठीक है. और जो आज ब्लैंक हो गए उसकी मैं आपको रिकॉर्डिंग दे दूंगा, वो कल आपको करके लाने हैं. ठीक है?
यस सर श्योर.
ठीक है. और कोई बच्चा नहीं है भाई 60 बच्चों में जो कह रहा है कि सर मैं फर्स्ट राउंड दूंगा? आप मौका तो दो. संजीव, वेरी गुड. और कोई? क्या बात है अमन, आपसे तो मैं एक्सपेक्ट करता हूँ. अंकित कुमार, ज्योति, सदफ. सदफ, आपसे तो एक्सपेक्टेशन है. व्हाट हैपेंड?
सर एक्चुअली मैं ना इंटरव्यूज दे रही हूँ,
नहीं
और
तो
जो मतलब आज
हम्म
मतलब नहीं, अभी आपने जो क्वेश्चंस पूछे, मैंने बताया था ना मैं फ्रेशर लेवल पे अप्लाई कर
तो
रही.
भी यही पूछे
वो
जाएंगे.
ये हाँ, वो फ्रेशर लेवल पे ही ये सारे पूछ रहे हैं.